Coming in Hot is presented by Botano. The game starts now. Here are your hosts, Brent Wallace, Jason York, and Bobby Ryan.
Running by himself, he scored!
Oh, what a day. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coming In Hot. I'm Brent Wallace alongside Jason York. Look, Yorkie, we broke out the Sens logos. This is a big day. Yorkie, you're muted. Why? Why? This is what happens when you go up a minute before.
I'm back. You got me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, listen, this was a hectic day today. Like a lot of shit is going on today, Wally. Look at you. Your hair is a mess too. Like, it's a crazy thing when Wally's hair game is absolutely you look like a mad scientist right now.
Listen, I haven't been this excited in a long time. And listen, this is exciting. So my phone had died at one point. I've been on it so much. We got some stories to tell you. We got some inside information to give out to you. Plus, we have one of the best guys in the business to join us who luckily, he's back from his trip. So, Ian Mendez, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Great to be here.
Everything is all messed up.
But I'm glad to see you because our microphones sometimes don't work. Oh, what a lording day it is. Ian, first of all, how was your trip?
Can you believe the timing on this, guys? When I left June 1st. I left June 1st. And that was when it felt like everything was like rising to a crescendo. And I thought, this thing is going to sell when I'm in Italy. And I leave and I come back. I got back late last night into Ottawa, wake up today. And then sure enough, this thing is sold by 9 a.m. So perfect timing, an amazing trip. I didn't have to worry about missing anything or feeling like I had to write while I was on that trip.
Yeah. You want to get a deal done? Get Mendez out of town.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Something we've learned here.
All right. So, Ian, what's your reaction to today's news?
Well, and by the way, I agree with Yorkie's comment that Wally, your hair, you've gone full Doc from Back to the Future,
right?
Hang on. I have, by the way. I had a haircut booked for 3:00 today. I had to change it. So after this show, I'm off to get a haircut and be ready for the Red Blacks home opener. So just listen. It's the new style. All the kids are doing it. This is the way it goes.
Okay.
I want to see you go long hair like the old guy that's rocking the flow. Like, speaking of flow, did you guys see a little bit of nostalgia here? Oliver Bonk,
yes,
rocking the mullet like his dad Radek back in draft day. Wally, you didn't get the great mullet going. You look outstanding. Let's go.
I'm good without it. Anyway, Mendez. By the way, you have this same jersey, Ian.
Is that from when we did training camp in the lockout year of 04-05 or whatever that was?
It is.
So what number did you get on the back of it?
I've got number 9.
Number 9 for Marty Havlat back in the day.
Yes.
Nice, good choice.
I had 71 as my a real training camp number.
What?
Yeah.
You picked 71?
I'd have to go back and figure out why I picked 71 was the number. That was even before Nick Foligno was there. So who knows?
Yorkie, is that your dog bark? Like, this whole show has gone to hell, and
it's gone off the rails. Dog's excited. You guys you got your Sens jersey. Where's your Sens paraphernalia?
Yeah, exactly. I should go downstairs and get the same jersey that Wally has. But anyway, Wally, right. you did ask me how I feel, and I think I have the same reaction as most people that I've seen on social media and certainly being on different shows today. There's just a ton of excitement here. I have not heard one negative thing about Michael Andlauer. Like, not one. Like, not somebody saying, you got to watch it, or this guy. Like, not one thing. And that's pretty interesting in the year 2023 when skeletons in closets are pretty hard to hide. Everybody knows everything about everybody. And so I've heard nothing but good things about him. I think he's, of all the groups that were remaining to buy the team, he was the one who always felt like was the least like looking at this as a real estate play and more looking at this as I want to buy a hockey team. I want to own a hockey team and I want to help bring a Stanley Cup to his city. That was always the impression I got from him. So I think this is a really good day. Like, I don't think it would have been a bad thing. I want to say this really clearly. I think the Kimmel group would have been fantastic too. I think that they had some really sharp people part of their group, but I don't think you could go wrong with Michael Andlauer. I really don't. Like based on everything we know about him, this was a great scenario for Ottawa. They sell for like $950 million, which I don't think anybody would have foreseen even 6 months ago. So it's a win-win scenario. I think this is one of the better days you've had as an Ottawa. If you've an Ottawa fan, this is one of your better days.
I'll tell you guys a couple quick, because I was the same. My phone was blowing up today. Like, people thought like I bought the team or something. It's like
we'll get to that.
So I talked to a couple buddies today about Michael Andlauer, and it's the same thing, Ian. Every single person, because I don't know Michael Andlauer personally, but every single person I have spoken to speaks so highly of him.
Yeah.
And just says the city of Ottawa have hit a home run with this new owner and ownership group. You know who I spoke to today? I don't think you'll mind me saying his name. John Gruden. Remember John Gruden? Ex-Ottawa Senator, good friend 24. Of mine, assistant coach for the Boston Bruins. He was also the coach of the Hamilton Bulldogs. Went to the Memorial Cup, worked directly with Michael Andlauer, and Grudes just said, unbelievable boss, unbelievable person, and just at the OHL level was so committed to winning, would do anything for the team to try and help the team. Any advantage he could give them to win, he would do it. And Grudes he couldn't stop speaking highly enough about him. So you can only go off what people that have worked closely to him say, and that's a pretty close person right there. I actually talked to another one of my buddies that knew him back in the day. Was a golf pro at a golf course out in Toronto, and Michael used to be a member at this course, and this was a long time ago. Same thing. He used to come into the pro shop, first name basis, wonderful person. So it's the same thing. Just so many good things, and then. Also, too, guys, I really believe this was important to have local ownership involved as well, especially in this city here in Ottawa, where, hey, it's no secret, we're not Toronto, we're not Montreal. So to have some very affluential people in the city with business connections, charity connections, I think that was a home run as well.
And we'll get to that for sure. One thing I did hear today, Michael Andlauer is planning, at least I'm told, moving to Ottawa. He will make Ottawa his home residence. So
wow.
We will start to hear more and more things, but Michael Andlauer is all in. There's no question. Ooh. Now, you talked about local investors, and Yorkie, we do know your brother Jeff is part of a local group. Yep. But there's also another big investor who's local, and I think it's already come out. I should say the group of the family. That's the Malhotra family from Claridge Homes.
Yeah.
They're outside of that local investor group. So outside of Andlauer, it's all a local group. And I think people need to understand how good that is, right? They all understand the dynamics of what's in play here in Ottawa. They understand the city. They know the business community really well. Obviously, they're in it. So all those things play in. And I did hear an interesting thing. We hear about Claridge Homes as a big part of this consortium or ownership group. Mm-hmm. They're in it for hockey. I'm told it's not about the real estate for them, even though they build homes. They're like, we want to win a cup. They want hockey. So it'd be interesting to see about that. I'm fully on board with these people.
I'll give you some insight on Neil and Sean, who I know very well. I know Ian knows them all. Great family, great people. And like you said, Wally, they love the game. Both Sean and Neil have kids that play minor hockey or involved in hockey. Yeah, these guys, they grew up fans of the Ottawa Senators. And you know, that's just, to me, it's when you have people that love the team and are in it for the right reasons, that want to see this team be the success that, you know, we all here in Ottawa, we're a little bit biased because we love the city, we love the team, and we see where it could go. But when I heard they were involved, I was like, wow, another like just a grand slam, man. It's great, right, Ian?
Yeah, no, it is. And first of all, if Wally is saying that Michael Andlauer is going to relocate to Ottawa, I'm going to sell him on Barhaven.
No,
I'm going to sell him.
No, we're not going to do that too
hard.
Ian, do you want him to
Barhaven? Yeah.
Is he going to take a? Is he going to take a chopper? He's going to have to get a helicopter landing to get to the game.
Just watching your faces is why I wanted to say that.
Yeah,
but
he's definitely a Stittsville guy.
Yeah, but this is it's so important what you pointed out, both of you, that there needs to be a local element here for the trust factor with this community. Like
exactly,
you have to have, and the previous regime, I think, just burned a lot of bridges with businesses, with politicians, with season ticket holders, with the charitable arm of the organization, with the media, with go down the list. And so I think to be able to build back that trust, you need people that understand the uniqueness of this marketplace, right? You understand, especially from the Claridge Homes perspective, or Yorkie, even your brother, like there are some things that are uniquely inherent to Ottawa that you have to know how to navigate this marketplace, and to have people with kind of boots on the ground, so to speak. It's huge. Like this is a massive part of the entire bid, I think, is having that local ownership component here for Michael Andlauer. It's going to take away a lot of the mistrust factor of, hey, is this guy coming in here to move the team? Is this guy, what's his end game? No, his end game is to win a Stanley Cup in Ottawa, and he's trying to put his roots down here.
Yeah. No, it's like I sent a tweet out today, and one of the first things I asked when I was chatting with my brother a while ago, because I didn't know Michael Andlauer, and I said to Jeff, I said, what's his, people buy teams for different reasons. He goes, Michael wants to buy this team because he wants to win. Like, this guy wants to win. And what a breath of fresh air that is for people in Ottawa, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's sports. And what's professional sports about? It's about winning. Yeah. And, we were so excited about Ryan Reynolds. And for sure, any group that would have bought this team would have been great. But you said the point earlier, Ian. This guy wanted it number one for the hockey, which I think is the number one and most important reason that Sens fans should be excited for this.
Let's do a couple of, I guess, factual things. One, the Malhotra family is very, very close to one Daniel Alfredson. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's
just
Well,
that's a fact. So we'll see how that plays out. Nobody's commenting right now on what that may mean for the organization. I think it looks pretty good. Number two is, I'm told like the Claridge bid or the Claridge part of this is somewhere around $200 million. Now, it could be wrong. I don't have that backed up anywhere, but that's a report. So, and the other part of Yorkie, and I know you've talked to your brother. I don't know if you have any comment, is that group alone, I think, is in for like $100 million combined, which is, Ian, if we've talked special vehicle purchase or
exactly. SVP, right, is what it is. And basically you can buy units at roughly $5 million per. And I think that there are some really, in addition to obviously Yorkie, your brother is such a well-known person in this community in the business side of things. Like, we're talking about some really big businesses in Ottawa too, right? That have purchased some, like, these are big time, like car dealerships, and like they just big time investors in Ottawa who understand the landscape, who now have a stake in this team. That's huge. You
mean like the Myers group that might have Cyril Leader working as the president?
Oh my God, connecting all the dots here.
The other thing, like when you mentioned the Myers family, like Harry and Rob Muse, they're hockey guys. Yep. Like, Harry was a great hockey player growing up. Robbie was a great player. They both played junior. Harry went on to get a scholarship. Like for privacy reasons, I don't know how many names are out there, but we're talking about those kinds of people involved in your ownership group, man. Yep. It's
exciting.
It's exciting, but also too, it's like when you look at things, for a team to survive in a small market, like, you need to surround your team, your brand, with people that care about it, people that love hockey, and people that have connections in the business world. And it's exactly what this whole group, beginning with Michael Andlauer and adding in the layers, provides. So this is just like, look, we got Sens. We have Sens shirts on today. Like, I can't remember the last time I had a Sens shirt. I was crazy.
But you played for them. You're allowed to wear it as long as you want.
Yeah, but yeah, Ian was 71. What number were you, Wally?
9. Mach 9.
I was 33.
I have a great. Anyway, we should tell that story someday about the Sens training camp they did in the lockout year when Brian Murray was the coach.
I heard that was great, by the way.
Oh yeah, and by the way, Wally was Mach 9, but Mock was spelled M-O-C-K, like Mock.
Yeah,
Make
okay.
it fun.
Says the guy who had an assistant coach at the time tying your skate on the ice.
Let's move on. Sorry, Wally, I'm losing you.
What's this? What's this?
We have to move on, apparently.
Nothing. We're out of time. Yeah, Yorkie.
So
hold on a second here. Back up the thing here.
No, hang on.
Somebody tied Mendez's skates?
Yeah, I have it on video.
What? Yeah. Why?
Ian's along the boards. The coach is on the ice tying this skate.
My laces came out.
It's like his dad.
Unopened somehow. Anyway, you know what?
He's like, change the subject.
Okay. But there's plenty of talk in there about Patrick Waugh. We'll get to it in a sec. The other part is just, I was told today, someone close to the ownership group, if you will, is they plan to make changes soon. So I'll back this up. And I was told to take a look at when Michael Andlauer helped purchase the Montreal Canadiens. It was back, and I have it written down here. So it happened almost at the same time back in 2009. I don't know what I've done with it, but hang on one sec. So this is how quick the Montreal sale went through. It makes me laugh to this day. May 26th, the Molson family announced they're going to intend to make an offer. June 10th, they announced they tendered the offer to George Gillette. June 20th, they announced they have a deal in principle 10 days later. And then on September 10th, they announced that they finally have approval, which had to go. They signed an agreement which had to go for approval. That approval, by the way, didn't happen until December 1st. So something to keep in mind, this approval will probably take months because they have to get through all the nitty gritty and dot all the I's and cross the T's. But what I think will happen is that, like it did in Montreal, the group was able to start making changes and I think they were at the draft. One of the things Andlauer really, really wanted was this to be done somewhere around the beginning of June because they wanted to be at the draft. Now, it's obviously looking like it's up in the air at this point, but keep in mind, it's not the end of the world. Ottawa doesn't have a pick, I think, till the 4th round, Ian. And also the other part of that is there's been GMs not allowed to be at the draft floor. With Brad Treliving and the Toronto Maple Leafs won't be there this year. Go back to Peter Chiarelli with Ottawa when he took the job in Boston, wasn't allowed to be at the draft. So that's not the end of the world. But I do think as soon as they get agreement to do it, they will start to make changes ASAP. Well, now, who that is the question.
Well, look at it this way. If you're going to pay $950 million for an entity, you're going to want to have both hands on the steering wheel during the most pivotal week in the calendar, which is the week of the draft and free agency. No, nobody's going to pay $950 million and say, okay, we'll take the keys in late August. Like, I agree with you. I could see the approval process dragging into the fall. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. But I just don't see a scenario in which you would pay $950 million and then during the most critical juncture of the year, you have no control. I think they'll be able to some extent, at least call the shots. And even if the current group is in place, I don't think they can really do anything unless they get the explicit approval of the new owners, right? You can't all of a sudden sign Alex DeBrincat, trade Alex DeBrincat. Michael Andlauer is going to be able to have a say in that, right? So at least that's how I feel, is that while it might not be official, I think that they should be able to have some degree of control over hockey operations that critical week of, and I think I bet we'll know that by the end of this week. Like, you got to think, you have to know that.
Well, you got to think of it this way, Ian. If you were the general manager or whoever's making the decisions and went and made moves and didn't ask the person that just bought the team, it's probably not that smart,
right?
So
exactly.
So we'll see. I'm of the opinion. A bunch of people asked me this today. Do you think there's going to be changes? They're going to change the GM, change the coach, and I'm like, if I'm buying a team, this is just me. I'm going to want to come in, look under the hood, and Michael Andlauer has been doing his due diligence. He's been talking to people, probably getting the opinions of people in the hockey world, and I'm sure he has some ideas of what he'd like to do with this team. I think what I was told all along, he was very confident he was going to be the winning bid. Like throughout this entire process, he was pretty confident, and it dragged out longer than we all thought it would. But we'll see. He's going to have to come in, take a look at the landscape. We all know the Senators' hockey ops department is the smallest one in the National Hockey League. So right away, you'd assume that's going to be beefed up, and there's going to be some positions added, and then they'll go from there. But he's not going to come into this blind. He's going to have done his homework.
And they all have, right? And so they already had a plan.
Exactly.
They're not going to buy a team and go, I wonder who the GM would be. Like, they've made these decisions. Yeah. Speaking of which, Mendez, I know you got to go, so we'll make this quick, is Patrick Waugh. He officially announced it today, and everybody's all excited about that. But let's not forget, back at the Memorial Cup, he announced that was his last time coaching. Like, this is not new. This is just a press conference for him to say, adios, amigos, I'm done. But he announced this basically back then. And so I know people are making a big deal about it today. I don't think that it's a big deal necessarily. That means he's coming to Ottawa.
No, I think what the bigger deal is Darren Dreger floating that out at the Memorial Cup, though, saying, hey, at least one of the ownership groups has an eye on Patrick Waugh as a potential head coach, right? And so I think a lot of people connected the dots that way and thought, well, that would be Michael Andlauer, especially with a little bit of his, I think that was his favorite team as a kid was the Montreal Canadiens, and he's probably admired Patrick Waugh to some extent. So I could see there being some traction there, but I agree with you, Wally. I don't know that the timing was necessarily exact to, like, it just happened to be, within an hour of each other. But it's going to be interesting because if that is the guy, if they make a change, I mean, Patrick Waugh is one of the most intense, kind of hardwired. Like, you want to talk about, if you want to talk about a change in direction, you go from DJ Smith, and DJ is one of the most down to earth. He's a gregarious, friendly, kind of modern day, kind of just, he's a happy go lucky guy. And Patrick is, I think, the exact opposite, not in a bad way, but just, I think the personalities are completely different. And that would be a fascinating, if that's the way it goes, I'm not sure you could have a bigger difference in personality, right? Between the guy in Patrick Waugh, who, his temper ran hot as a goalie, his temper has run hot as a coach. I don't think you change his personality. That's who he is. Wow, what a difference, and what a stark difference that could be if that's the way this goes.
I would think we had a good chat about this the other day. The subject of Patrick Waugh came up, and I would say, sure, your personality is your personality, but I think you learn some things your first time around. And if he does, in fact, resurface in NHL as a head coach, sure, he'll be intense, but I think there'll be a little bit of a gentler approach because the players are just different now. Like Mike Babcock, when he's back in Columbus this year, I think he's going to make some adjustments, make some changes. You can't change who you are, but you definitely learn. You ask any coach after they've been fired and they come back, there's a few things they've learned. There's a few adjustments they've made, and the game keeps changing. The players keep changing. We'll see. It's an interesting debate, though, with when you put all those things together, Ian, the relationship, Andlauer, Montreal, Patrick Waugh's available.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm not certain. Like, we'll see what happens with DJ. Like, there's so much with the current players in Ottawa with like, he's a player's coach. A lot of guys in that room love him.
The one thing I'll say is that Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle in particular love the coach. Now, I'm not saying that necessarily carries a ton of weight. I'm just saying that that's a fact. That's not me guessing. That's me knowing that these guys absolutely positively love them. Now, players shouldn't be the ones that also ultimately decide whether or not people keep their jobs. That's why you have owners and general managers. But I think that there is some degree of those players believing in the coach because he believed in them. And I think they want him to have a chance to take them to the playoffs. But that's not their call, right?
Hello, Calgary Flames.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, look, the players.
Sometimes it is the players' call.
The players have a lot of power in today's game. They really do. They do, because the end of it's the old saying. Before 20 years ago, they used to say, you can't get rid of 20 players. It's easier to get rid of the coach. 20 years ago, those players made a lot less money than they make now. Nowadays,
that's true.
Those 20 players account to roughly $80 million versus let's just call it whatever the coach makes.
Let's also point out, though, you can still like DJ Smith as a coach,
for sure,
and still like Patrick Waugh as your coach if he comes
100%,
in.
100%.
Like, right, you can still go, well, maybe, this isn't so bad. I don't mind this or whatever. Just because you like one doesn't mean you can't like the other, if that makes sense. Yeah. I don't know if Patrick is the answer, but it'll be interesting to see how this certainly plays out. Mendez, I know you got to go, so I appreciate your time here, my friend.
Listen, guys, I'm happy to jump on anytime. I'm sure, look, in the weeks ahead, this is going to be fascinating. I think the plan is for me to go down to Nashville for the draft. So I'd love to, if you guys are doing something draft related, be happy to jump.
Oh,
we lost Mendez.
What? Yorkie, what did you just do to the internet?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm not in charge of the internet.
Okay. See you, Mendez. I appreciate him stopping by.
I'm not producing this show. I'm not that powerful.
Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break before we pick up. I did this last time when we were late getting through our sponsor read. So let's fire up the billboards and we will get through this, if you will, because this show doesn't happen without the generous support of Botano. But visit botano.ca, download the app, and then use their award-winning app to pick perhaps a winner in tonight's Stanley Cup game. The fastest, most user-friendly and advanced betting app for your mobile or tablet. Have the amazing world of sports always with you at Botano. Hundreds of betting options for events and try same-game parlays, also live in-game betting, and the most competitive odds in the market. Botano, the game starts now.
Oh, Renfrew Pro Tape again. Big thanks to Renfrew Pro. They've been with us since day one. The original hockey tape. As our good friend Bobby Ryan likes to say, it is hand terrible. Moisture resistance, helps with your puck control, and it is the one you find in every single NHL locker room. It's available at all major retailers. RenfrewPro.com on the web. It's the one with the green core. If you're on Instagram, give them a follow at Renfrew Pro. Don't forget to tag your teammates for some unlimited entries. Share your story, and for 10 bonus entries.
For 35 years, BEI has built its reputation on providing great service with unmatched quality of work. And now the BEI team is putting forth the same commitment into building your new home. Escape the city and the big city price tags. Relocate to a new home in the Wren subdivision, a project by BEI Homes, just an hour west of Canada. Maybe Michael Andlauer could pick up a spot there. Detached homes for 70-foot frontage with water and sewer. There are also semi-detached homes with plenty of affordable options. Many options and floor plans to choose from, and prices starting low as $500,000. Visit BonassureHomes.com. And of course, thankfully, this show fueled by AG1. Give them a shout at AG1 at athleticgreens.com, I should say. If you go to athleticgreens.com/coming-in-hot, you can get a year's supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your AG1. It's 75 nutrients and vitamins all packed into one delicious drink. Give them a shout. Athleticgreens.com. Okay. So, by the way, I did ask you about your brother. We didn't get back to that. So we're going to get back to that. Sure. I just want to read the statement from Michael Andlauer. It's the only thing we've heard from him today. And I expect him to be fairly quiet for the most part until this deal gets done. But he did. Sure. The Sens, when they put out their press release today, did put out the statement. My family and I are very excited to be part of the Ottawa Senators Hockey Club. I believe that the Senators fan base is one of the most passionate in the league, and I'm excited to take the franchise's success both on and off the ice to the next level. The short and long-term future of the team is incredibly bright, and I look forward to getting to know the team, the fan base, and the community. First and foremost, thank you to my wife and family for their support. Thank you to both the NHL and the Melnick family for providing me with the opportunity to make this dream a reality. Thank you also to my equity partners on the transaction who, like me, are committed to bringing success to the National Capital Region. I would also like to thank my financial advisors, at Bulldog Capital Partners. Yes. Always thank the financial guys. So you've talked to Jeff. Are you allowed to comment?
Well, at this point, Wally, like for sure. I'll tell you what, you know where I found my brother, by the way? He's away on a Father's Day trip right now. He was golfing in Ireland on the course. He actually, because a little bit of a time change there, he knew last night. And then I actually told him this morning, I'm like, it's live now, it's out. He's like, oh, I didn't even know it was out yet. But he was, just to give a little background on my brother, he's a hockey guy. Like, he grew up in Ottawa, played for the Nepean Raiders in the Central Junior League, then went to play at Princeton on a hockey scholarship. And just, he's a guy that loves the game. He's always loved hockey, lifelong fan, was an original Senators season ticket holder, used to come to all my games, and wonderful guy, wonderful person, and a lot smarter than me in the business world. Believe it or not. Yeah. No,
he got all the looks and the brains.
I'll tell this about my brother. He's a guy that a lot of people in the business community know him. He's a very generous guy that has helped a lot of businesses out. And he is, as far as numbers go, he is one of the smartest people I know. And I don't know all the people in his group involved. I know some of them, but that'll come out in time. The main thing is here now, the majority owner of the team, Michael Andlauer, like I'm watching my Twitter, Wally, and the amount of positive feedback that's coming in right now from people that know him, stories, it's incredibly positive. My brother said the same thing. Malhotra family, same thing. The other partners that are eventually going to come out, if they want to be named, it's just a lot of good people in for the right reasons and love hockey and want to see this team do well. Like, what more can you ask for? So I'm super stoked for my brother. This is something I know he's just ecstatic to be a part of. So it's super happy for him, his family, and everyone involved.
So did you ask for like a job?
That's no, everyone's asking me for one. Honestly, it's I think once everything gets sorted out, and like there's going to be a long due diligence process here with what they do, but I'm just super happy today. Happy for him, happy for the city. Like, this is the team. Let's not forget, this is a really good hockey team right now. Like, why we do this podcast is generally to talk about the team and what's going on the ice. Like, this group just bought an incredibly talented young franchise that I think, and it's no secret, I've said this for the last 2 years, especially this year, they're very close to taking a huge step here. And man, I really believe they're not far away from challenging for a Stanley Cup. So it's one thing when you buy a team that needs a lot of patchwork, a lot of internal rebuilding, and like that whole process. This team is very close to being a great hockey team. So that to me makes this really exciting.
One of the other things too is people wondering about, because Andlauer is a huge hockey guy, and without question, obviously, that he might be a meddler. And I don't believe he is. Nobody's really, will he be involved? Sure. Is he a meddler type guy? No. So I think there's a watch for. I don't think he's going to be overbearing, if you will. He'll let people do their jobs, but he wants to know obviously what's going on.
Well, think about it this way. He's had success at the OHL level. Like, two teams that Hamilton in the last, I think less than 6 years, has gone to 2 Memorial Cups. I may be off by a few years, but that's tough to do. And we all know this. Winning championships, pedigree starts at the top. So he obviously knows what he's doing. Like I said, I've personally never met Michael Andlauer. I've heard nothing but great things. This is what smart people do. They surround themselves with really smart hockey people, and I guarantee you that's what he's going to do.
So you're going to get a job. Okay. Don't forget me. So let's go back. There's been lots of stuff. So it's been interesting to follow from behind the scenes a little bit here. Although Andlauer was confident, I think there were times when everybody wasn't so sure where they stood. Like at one point, the Kimmel family was reported. Oh, obviously, we go back to the Ryan Reynolds, and that Remington group was favored, and then it became perhaps the Kimmel or the Nikos. But like everybody seemed at one point to take a turn being the favorite.
Yeah.
And it looked like, oh, this group's going to be out, or this group's going to be out, or we're not. Like there were a lot of moments where it wasn't crystal clear that Michael Andlauer was going to take this bid.
Well, you got to think about it this way. Like, you brought in a I'm not even sure what to call them. It's like a broker to sell professional franchises. So that's exactly the narrative you want out there. You want confusion. You don't want certainty. You want confusion.
Well, they made it confusing.
Well, that was achieved. The price was driven up. At the end of the day, though, I truly believe the right thing happened. And from day one, all the groups looked great, but you have, like I said from the beginning when we got on the air here, you have an owner that's in because he is passionate about hockey. Like when you hear him speak, he's talking about the hockey team. He's talking about winning. He's talking about the city. He's talking about the passionate fan base. To me, that's first and foremost. And I know that's been achieved here. So at the end of the day, this, although as painful as this process was for the fans, everybody in the city, I think the right guy got the team.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you questions that we haven't discussed, and so you can answer them or not. Like, the local consortium of, it's rumored to be 20-some people. I don't know what the number is.
I don't know exactly how many. I don't know.
Do they get a say?
Well, saying what? Like, you got to understand, like the team is, you're going to have people that are business people, and you're going to have people on the hockey side. So it depends. A say on, for sure, look at depending on what it is, but I don't think you're going to have 50 people deciding on hockey matters. But there'll be a lot of smart minds as far as business decisions and things like that go, for sure.
But what else can you tell us, Yorkie? I'm just trying to think here of what we're missing that people want to know about.
Well, everybody's wondering where the rink's going to go.
Right.
That's the big question. Is it going to be in Canada? Is it going to be downtown? I think that like in due time that will play itself out. This group is going to put this stadium, the Coliseum, whatever it's going to be called, in the spot. And this is what we got to remember too. NHL hockey is 41 home dates plus your exhibition plus playoffs. This facility needs to go in the best spot in the city where you're going to attract major venues. Where we talked about this the other day. When big concerts, big tours, big performers come to Canada, they go to Montreal and they go to Toronto. I think part of this is you're going to want to make Ottawa a major stop on the tours of some of these events. So I think that has to come in a decision wherever the rink goes. And we'll see. Like, there's so much out there. How much land is available? I don't know. But I think that'll work itself out. The best decision will be made for the hockey and for major venues coming to town.
So there's a couple of things. One, keep in mind the Claridge homes. You can either say the Malholtra family or Claridge homes, but I think they've already built in the LeBreton area, so they do understand the NCC part of it. But I'm also told, Yorkie, that they or Andlauer, I guess, because he got the 90%, and how it gets divvied up is besides that. But that he just wanted to get the team. They will deal with everything else afterwards, but they they just he wanted to make sure he got the team, and then he'll worry about the arena. That's not a bad thing. I'm just trying to point out that it wasn't the first thing on the radar with this group, and I'm okay with that. I think they're going to get into the middle of the city. Like, there's a lot of chatter about that DND building, which is right next to Rideau Center.
Yeah, and like there's different stories out there. There's people that have lease agreements in place at LeBreton Flats that potentially could be giving some of that land back to create more space there. There's land the city owns around Tom Brown Arena and the Bayview area. potentially 10 acres. I believe there's more land down there than people think. It's just, it'll have to get sorted out. But I agree with you. Like this, first and foremost, Michael Andlauer wanted to make sure that he won this bid, which he did. And then you move forward, because the city too is going to, as much as people talk about the NCC, eventually you do have to put something nice down there. You do have to find a way to try and invigorate the downtown area again. I know that's not really, it's kind of on the outskirts, but to get people wanting to go to the core of your city again, because hey, it's no secret. Look what's happening with the government of Canada here. People are talking about only going back to work, whatever it is, 2 days of work, 3 days of work. We've just spent, was it billions of dollars on a light rail system to transport people down to that area. So what, are we going to have that and not take anybody down there? Like, think about that for a sec. Yeah. So it's in the best interest of the city to try and get a deal down there. It really is, because it's foolish not to.
It also would help if the light rail system worked, but that's a whole other podcast.
We could talk about that later.
So,
but hey,
here I'm wondering if we have some new names for a potential arena downtown, like the Farm Boy Garden, the barn. Like, I'm just there's endless possibilities here with the Farm Boy name.
Yeah, there's luck. You can go anywhere. I heard some tweets out there today. Did they take Farm Boy out of the rink a couple years ago?
Yeah.
A lot of people complaining about that.
Yes. Well, so it's funny you say that. Amy Wilson asked a question earlier. I gotta find it. What Farm Boy food would you like to see at the CTC? I said the salsa dip. It's really good. It's
so good. Yeah.
So.
You know what my favorite is? The Farm Boy guac. I love the guac. Oh. It's healthy fat, you know. You can have as much as you want. It's the healthy fat.
It is. I agree with you. Yes. We're way off track today. So this deal is going to take some time to get done, as we've said. Expect them to finally close it. They have to have a board of governors meeting and all that stuff to approve all that. But for all intents and purposes, when they get the agreement in place, before it goes to the board, is probably when everything seems to happen, and that will be solid. Like this day is really good.
This is the great thing about having Michael Andlauer as a majority owner of the Ottawa Senators. He already sits amongst the owners of the National Hockey League, so there's no secrets. He's a vetted guy. He's a made guy, if you're going to talk in mob terms, but that's why this process, they still have to go about their business, but it's going to get passed. It's going to go through. There's going to be no mysteries about, because he's already gone through this process before.
All right, I'm going to throw you under the bus a little. Maybe that's not the right term.
For what?
At the start of this season coming up on October the 9th or whenever they drop the puck, is DJ Smith the head coach and Pierre Dorion the general manager of the Ottawa Senators?
That's a great question. Honestly, Wally, if I had a answer, I don't want to be a fence sitter, but I have no idea. This process is going to take a while to go through. We talked about it earlier with Mendes. Like, by the time everybody gets in there, I know we said they're going to go in and make some decisions before, but I honestly don't know. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it. I'm 50-50.
What's 50-50 mean? You
50,
think one over the other, or that you think both?
I think it could go either way. This is the thing. When somebody comes in and purchases something, you want to make it your own, right? You want to bring your own people in. You want to work with people you have familiarity. I can't even pronounce my
familiarity with.
Familiarity with. And like, there's been all kinds of names floated out there. Like, this one's been like, Michael Andlauer has a great relationship with Steve Staios. Steve Staios is with the Edmonton Oilers. You've heard that rumor. So that always happens, and it happens with players. Like myself, for example, when I was with the Anaheim Ducks, then Mighty Ducks, I was signed by Pierre Gauthier to a 3-year deal. As soon as Pierre got fired, the new GM came in and got rid of me because I wasn't his guy. It was Brian Murray, by the way. And I was traded like a month later. And it's just, that's what happens in pro sports. Is that going to happen here in Ottawa? I would say it usually does happen. I don't know what Michael Andlauer's relationship is, how much he knows DJ Smith, the conversations he's had behind closed doors with Pierre Dorion. Does he trust him? Does he respect him? Does he think he's done a good job? We'll see. Who will he bring in to replace him? I think it's going to be a very interesting summer. I think there's going to be all kinds of rumors floated out there. The draft's coming up. I don't think anything gets done before the draft. It's close.
Ooh, I do.
You do, eh? I have no knowledge. I haven't talked to anybody about this. I'm just guessing because what are we right now? June, was it 13th. So we're pretty close. So, but who knows?
2 weeks, right? Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think that they will make a decision on the GM. Because listen, they already have Ryan Bonus and Trent Mann in the organization. They already know, they've gone through the scouting meetings. They already know what they want to do with the draft, all that stuff. So they can still carry on, even if they do replace Pierre Dorion before the draft. I just don't, that's not a big deal to me. The big deal is being able to make those decisions as owner and what you want to see happen now.
Yeah.
Leading up to the draft. And that includes Alex DeBrincat and whether or not he gets moved.
Mm-hmm.
What if Michael Andlauer is like, I love this player. We're going to find a way to keep him.
Who knows? Like you don't know until like the change actually, people are sitting in their office, sitting in their desks and it's here we go. Let's get going here. But that's what kind of sucked in this whole process of how long it was drawn out. Oh, and God. Like that was what was infuriating people because there's a couple of big decisions to be made here. So I'm excited for the draft though. I'd love to see Ottawa somehow make a deal and get and be able to get at least another higher pick in that draft.
Well, we shall wait and see, but it's certainly an exciting times, Yorkie. Today's one of those days, right? It's just a really good day. It's good for the fan base. Mm-hmm. Listen, Michael, and I think this is important to point out that Michael Andlauer is going to be the next owner of the Ottawa Senators, but it's more of a caretaker, right? It's for the fans. This is the one thing where you own something, but you just look after it because it's the fans who are ultimately the ones that really have ownership in this, right? You pour your heart and emotions and all of it and your hard-earned money into that team to want that team to be around and to cheer for those guys. It's your team. He's just the caretaker, and I think he's the perfect choice for this.
I think the whole, you talk about in sports today, the brand. I think the whole brand of the Ottawa Senators it's going to be tremendous of what's going to happen with the possibilities of, and listen, the team was starting with the current, and I said this earlier, the current roster and the excitement that's brewing with this group right now, and plug in the new owners. I think the brand of the Ottawa Senators is going to be, it's going to take a huge, boost here.
It will for sure. And by the way, I got to go because this jersey is like 100 degrees.
Is that the big thick old mesh one you got there?
Yeah, it's Coho. It's a full on tie down.
You know what's funny about that jersey? When I used to wear it, I'm like, man, this logo is so heavy. It's like, can we get a lighter logo?
Yes, it takes up the entire front. Anyway. Well, it looks good. So we'll be back with another episode of Coming Up. But for now, I just appreciate your time, Yorkie. Thank your brother for me for helping be part of the ownership group and to help this monumental change, my friend.
All right. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
See you, everybody. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Coming in Hot is brought to you by Botano.ca. Please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to never miss an episode.